Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends X-Men Warlord, aka Professor X. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we possibly have the last piece we need to complete that iconic Uncanny X-Men 275 front cover. As in front of us today, we have Warlord, aka Professor X. As in the early 90s, it shocked both the Starjammers and the X-Men when Warlord was revealed to be none other than Charles Xavier himself, standing and all in his She-Hulk armor. Now, if you are looking to backtrack and to complete that front cover in Marvel Legends form, then you will need to go and buy the 2 X-Men team free packs in the yellow and blue uniforms. There is also a single carded Wolverine also on this orange retro card. And then today we have Warlord in the black and silver. Now you will notice on the actual front cover, his uniform is purple and gold. But if you open the comic book, his uniform is black and silver. So by no means is this figure an inaccurate version of Warlord. You could argue it's more accurate as this is actually what's in the comic. But I always thought we were going to complete the front cover for our collection. So I'm just curious, what would the community have preferred? Are you happy with this black and silver version of Warlord? Or would you have preferred what we got on the actual front cover, which is the purple and gold? Let me know in the comments below. Nevertheless, we get the black and silver, who's going to look very good standing with your X-Men team or even the Starjammers, and I will do some comparisons in this video, of course I will. But one more look at the glorious orange retro card. I don't think Warlord was ever on this card back in the day, but we have him now. So there he is in the front with the She-Hulk armor over there. We even get his helmet up there in the top. Spin it around to the back, we get a promo image, a stencil, and a write-up that says, when the Starjammers and the X-Men join forces to return the She-Hulk throne back to its rightful leader, they're guided by her mysterious Warlord, who reveals himself to be Professor Charles Xavier. We've shocked the world in the 90s, but if you've seen the X-Men show, you know all about it. Let's get him open. Here we have Charles out of the packaging with his few accessories, an interchangeable set of fisted hands, and we also get a smiling, unhelmeted Charles Xavier head sculpt with the digital face printing tech we'll take a closer look at in a moment. Let me get the tape measure out, as that She-Hulk helmet probably makes him our tallest Charles so far at 6 3/4 inches in height. Now granted, the costume design is very simple, but executed pretty accurately in Marvel Legends form. The only thing they haven't quite nailed on comparing it to the comic is the cape. The cape in the comic is a little bit more dramatic, shall we say, a little bit more bunched up in places. So I'm curious what customizers will do with this, with a longer cape, bendy wire and all of that. But otherwise, what we got here is very nice, and I do think the silver and black was probably better, as that's what we see in the comic book pages. It makes better sense for an overall Marvel collection. But that's just my opinion. Let's take a closer look. So it seems like the helmet is molded in that sort of regular silverish chrome marbleized plastic we've seen with Legends before. The sculpt is very nice, and it has the blue sort of shading or shadowing across the front of the mask as well that matches the armor over the shoulders and the collar around the neck. It is very nicely done, and if I spin it around to the back, you can see what I mean. Just that regular Marvel Legends marbleized plastic, but with none of that blue shading. Spin it around to the front, and you do get the blue shading across the shoulders, the collar, and the head sculpt. It does seem like a helmet sculpted on top of a regular Marvel Legends head as well. As you can see Charles's chin, and if you look close enough, you can see Charles's whited out eyes behind the mask faceplate as well. So very nicely done for sure. The head is on a disking hinge, and because of the collar on the neck, he can't really look up well, but he can bury the chin and of course look side to side, no problem. There does seem to be a little bit of wash in these sort of rivets on the collar as well to make them pop a little bit more. It's a little bit more showing on the back, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of a black wash just to bring out some of that sculpted detail on the collar. But yes, the collar, the shoulder pads, the helmet is a very nice combo. But we also get this unhelmeted Professor Charles Xavier head sculpt. And don't get me wrong, digital face printing tech on point like always. There is just something a little bit off about this expression and I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's the raised eyebrow and the awkward smile, but it looks like he's letting out a fart while trying to have an important conversation with him. I can't quite suss out what emotion this facial expression is trying to convey in plastic. You let me know in the comments below, but undoubtedly it is still looking nice with the digital face printing tech, nicely executed with the smile, raised eyebrows with the creases above. Because he's not wearing the helmet, he does have better range looking up as well as the regular looking down side to side. So now you have your options. You can either have regular helmeted Warlord of the Shi'ar Empire, or you can have your unhelmeted, confused, farting Charles Xavier. The choice is yours. And I'm sure you can use any previous Charles Xavier head sculpts on this body as well. We'll try some at the end, but first let's focus on the rest of the figure, as there's not too much else to show, as I've already showed you the shoulder armor, which is one solid piece that goes across the collar and the shoulders, and that is actually attached to the cape. So if I spin it around, you can see the cape is embedded, it's all one piece, and it does have some nice sculpted creases going down the back. It's done in like that sort of soft-ish plastic, so it will sort of fold but then just find its position again as well, all done in the same blue. And if I take the head off, you will see that it's actually all one piece. The shoulder armor, the collar is all attached to the actual blue cape. So if you are going to customize this, you are going to have to come in with an X-Acto knife and cut out all of this cape to add your own soft goods, which I have no doubts people are capable of doing, but there's no peg. It literally just hooks over the shoulder and sits very nicely like so. But looking at the rest of the body, it is just all black, which is absolutely fine. And then you've got the blue pinstripes, which are a nice sort of look when compared to the blue on the helmet and the blue of the cape. Like, they stand out very nicely, and it is comic accurate. But you get the blue lines on the chest, going down the torso, and then just up on the upper legs. The rest of the figure is completely pinless, by the way, so completely pinless double jointed knees, completely pinless double jointed elbows, but it is the standard Marvel Legends articulation that we're used to. There is a butterfly joint there underneath the sort of armor piece, but it is a soft enough plastic, it will just move out of the way. It's not going to hinder any of the articulation you want to do. Like, it will just lift up out of the way for an arm pose like so. So yeah, absolutely fine. You're going to be able to get this in all the poses required. Straight out of the box, he comes with a set of gesturing hands, and then we also have a set of interchangeable fisted hands as well. Now, before we inevitably try and recreate that Uncanny X-Men cover with our Marvel Legends, let's just jump through a few other comparisons, starting off with our Marvel Legend Charles Xavier's. And there's a miracle, as they are all standing. We have our OG Riders Wave green suit pinstripe tie Charles Xavier over here. Now, this body is absolutely worthy of an update. Now we have the pinless suited body and also digital face printing tech for the head, but this is a fine placeholder for now. Over here we have our House of X Charles Xavier that also has a fancy helmet, but he is on the older pinned body, and look how lopsided he is. This figure has just been on display and his leg has all warped. That's why we appreciate these new sturdier pinless bodies. They are just better overall, proportionately, aesthetically, and they hold the test of time a little bit more, as so it seems so far. Because yeah, this guy looks drunk, he's leaning to one side, jelly leg jean syndrome. So yeah, that is why we don't want the pins on our Marvel Legends anymore. So yeah, drunk Charles Xavier there, but Warlord, undoubtedly a completely different design from the rest. I say that, but him and House of X look similar, don't they? So I'll shut up. Next up, of course, we had to see what the power couple look like together. It is Lilandra and her Warlord Charles Xavier. Remember, we only got Lilandra at the start of the year as well, and these two pair up together very nicely. I'm happy to report as well, the blue capes are basically the same color blue. So again, they just pair up really nicely and seem to match each other. So I like that small detail. But yeah, apart from having the capes and you can't get them standing next to each other too close, they do look very good together. As they should. One of the first times we seen Warlord on a comic book page was with the Starjammers. So this is what we have currently in the Marvel Legends line. We have the Chode Build-A-Figure and we have Corsair. Now the Chode is very controversial as it doesn't have the right accurate amount of fingers. He doesn't have the yellow shading as he should. It's just not quite accurate. But you cannot deny it doesn't at least give the essence of that character in Marvel Legends form. Is that good enough? No, of course it's not. We need a better one, but it still fits for now. And yeah, Corsair looks great. But we are missing Hepzibah, of course, shout out Displayed Once, and Razor to complete the sort of core members of the team. And this is what we have been waiting for, the recreation of Uncanny X-Men 275 with our Marvel Legends. To be fair to Hasbro, it didn't take them too long to complete the team. The only sort of small issue I have is my mind's eye of that cover will always be Warlord lingering in the background with the purple and gold. However, the legend is black and silver. Now, as I said, I think Legends made the right choice giving us the accurate costume design that's actually in the comic. But when you're trying to recreate that front cover, it's inaccurate. So it's an awkward one, it's a catch-22, but here is my tribute to that front cover on my small little display space. So don't come at me in the comments for an inaccurate pose. I'm sure the talented folk in the community will do a much better job at recreating that cover with their Marvel Legends. But nice little setup for sure, and Legends are getting better at completing teams in a much quicker pace, as I'm bored of waiting 10 years to complete a team, and by the time we get a new member, the new characters really updated and the old one's outdated and we need a new one of them. It's very frustrating, but I did have that conversation with Dan Yoon. Check out the interview on my channel for that. But yeah, these look great together. The yellow and blue, Warlord lingering in the background. It was Charles Xavier all along. And if you just wanted to see Charles up on a flight stand, then there you go, not a problem. You just put the flight stand up under the cape and the head and helmet sort of holds it in position for you so he can stand on a flight stand and hover against your Marvel Legends on display, no problem at all. And just going back to that front cover, the only glaring character we do not have on that front cover that we desperately need is the whole reason they are trying to overthrow the Shi'ar Empire in the first place, is the dastardly Death Bird that we are yet to have in the Marvel Legends line. But I do think she is on the horizon, as they're going to reuse parts from that Lady Mandarin. So fingers crossed. Also, if you wanted to display Charles holding his helmet, then you can do so. Just pose it in a way where you can't see Charles's chin on the actual interchangeable head. But for a display, that absolutely works. It looks like an unhelmeted version of Charles. And unless you were reading comics in the 90s or backtracked, you probably have no idea about this storyline. That was until you've seen it in the X-Men 97 Disney Plus show. So here we have a couple of X-Men 97 figures to show you that you can sort of make it work. We've got Rogue because we still need Rogue in a Savage Land look, and we also have Magneto. And then here we have a couple of different Marvel Legend body types with the new Black Widow, and then we have Vulcan, who is a big part of that whole She-Hulk storyline. I do also have Fang and of course Gladiator, but they're on the display, and we could do with an updated Gladiator, who is also a silhouette on that front cover. So maybe potential for some more of that Shi'ar Empire sort of Imperial Guard. And then wrapping up, here we have some of the Who crew. We've got Frogman, Tigra and Hydra Bob. But then last and never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legend, Uncanny X-Men Warlord, aka Professor Charles Xavier. And honestly, it's a really nice Marvel Legend. Granted, it's a simple costume design, but in plastic, it just works. Again, the only thing they probably couldn't get bang on is that dramatic cape. It just doesn't translate to the Marvel Legends aesthetic. But if anyone does want to go the extra effort and do like a really dramatic soft good cape with bendy wire, he will look really nice on display. But I'm happy with what we have here, and I'm happy, I think, with the black and silver. It just makes more sense in the grand scheme of the world we are building, as this, what was on the comic book page. The gold and purple was just the front cover, but Hasbro did promise us that front cover, so that's what I was expecting. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, it's just a fun conversation for debate. What should this Warlord have been? Are you happy with the black and silver? or should it have been the gold and purple? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like Marvel Legends and WoW, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Support the channel beyond the channel. It is so simple. Hit that join button. If not, follow me on Instagram. It is Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter as well, or X, whatever these days, at Dan Who Reviews. My name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.